And joining us now from Islamabad, the Pakistani Ambassador to the United States, Ambassador Sherry Rehman. Ambassador, thanks very much for coming in. Why did it take so long, 7 months, to work out this deal?
It took us a while, but we welcome the strategic patience that all parties showed in this whole process. And I think that today and yesterday mark a historic turn in this relationship. We have been able to, I think, turn towards building on this opportunity and halt the downward spiral this could have really spun towards.
Because the Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, after your government demanded for months and months a formal apology for that incident last November, which a couple dozen Pakistani troops were killed accidentally by the United States. She did issue a statement. She said this: "We are sorry for the losses suffered by the Pakistani military. We are committed to working closely with Pakistan and Afghanistan to prevent this from ever happening again." Now, the word sorry is not necessarily exactly the same as apologize. Was that an issue? Did you want her to go further, or is this good enough as far as Pakistan is concerned?
Well, I can speak for the government and most of Parliament, which really did ask. In Pakistan, sorry and an apology usually, I mean, the word sorry does mean an apology, and it's not seen as a soft option.
As Ambassador, there were a lot of reports that originally you were charging only about $200, $250 per truck, bringing supplies to U.S. and NATO forces into Afghanistan from Karachi in Pakistan. But at some point, you wanted to increase that to $5,000 a truck. U.S. officials thought that was exorbitant. It's only going to go back to the way it was. What, about $200, $250 a truck? Is that right?
It's Wolf. It was never. I don't know where this figure, that this 5,000 figure, has come from. It just got a life of its own after some speculation in the press. I'd just like to say that there was never any intent to, as I said, make this one of our negotiations or make price an element of our negotiations. It really wasn't about that. And as you say, it's going to go back to what it was, which we call no charge, because we're not really going into any architecture of levies or transit fees that other countries do charge and may continue to charge for this. For us, it's a commitment towards stabilizing Afghanistan, and it's our very major contribution to peace in the region. And we certainly don't want to be demonized anymore as a country that is holding back. And if anything else, Pakistan has paid more in terms of life and blood and treasure in this entire conflict for the last 10 years than anybody, than all the joint resources of NATO in Afghanistan.
The U.S. officials are saying, though, that as part of this arrangement, there will be an additional more than $1 billion a year in assistance to Pakistan, $1.1 billion, $1.2 billion to reimburse the Pakistani military for support along the border, the counterinsurgency support along the border with Afghanistan. Is this new billion-dollar aid package part of this deal?
I'm not, Wolf, aware of any new aid package, and as I understand it, if you're speaking about the coalition support funds, I take this opportunity to disabuse anyone of the notion that this is any kind of aid package. Coalition support funds is the arrangement that was agreed on between Pakistan and the United States for compensation of logistical and other deployment on the western side of the border in support of, and other mobilization in support of NATO, ISAF, and U.S. forces.
Well, we're almost out of time, but one final question, Ambassador. Any chance that that Pakistani doctor who helped the CIA find bin Laden in Abbottabad and who has been sentenced to 33 years in prison in Pakistan, any chance you might be willing to reduce that sentence or let him go, come to the United States with his family?
Wolf, the Dr. Afridi, number one, did not know at any point that he was assisting in looking for bin Laden. These are actions of the Pakistani courts. He has recourse to at least 3 layers of appeals. These are not kangaroo courts, and he has not been indicted for assisting and abetting with any foreign intelligence agency. He has been indicted right now for assisting and signing agreements with and being in a web of complicated agreements in the tribal agency he was working with terrorist groups that are killing and egregious and are cause for egregious concern in Pakistan, and should be for the United States as well.
Ambassador, we're out of time. I appreciate it very much. I will just leave you with this one thought. There is, as you know, outrage in the U.S. Congress over this 33-year sentence for this physician. And as you know, in retaliation, they cut off $33 million in annual assistance to Pakistan, hoping that would send a powerful message to your government that he might be released and allowed to come to the United States or whatever.
We're mindful of Americans' concerns, and let me say we do hear you. Thank you.
Ambassador Sherry Rehman is the Pakistani ambassador to the United States. We'll stay in close touch. Look forward to seeing you back here in Washington.